Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, bringing you a review of Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, available exclusively on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I think I should preface this by saying that I'm not the biggest strategy RPG person. I haven't played too many of them. I've played a few, not that many. I haven't even played Fire Emblem, and that's like the big one, right? That's the guys who made Fire Emblem made Advance Wars. That being said, I don't hate them. I just haven't been. I'm just not usually playing them. I haven't usually had too much of an interest in picking them up. But Advance Wars, this remake over here, did stand out to me for a few reasons. One, it's gotten a lot of good press. The series in general has gotten a lot of good press. I've always heard people sing the praises of Advance Wars. Oh my god, Advance Wars is so good. They gotta make another Advance Wars. And seeing this get made, I was like, hey, good for those people. But then, more trailers started coming out, and I didn't realize there's multiplayer modes. There's these challenge maps. That shit's really cool. So I was down. I was like, you know what? Sure, why not? I'll give the remake a shot. So what's the verdict? It's out now. After some rather unfortunate delays. What's the end result? Is the game any good? Let's get into it. So first thing I want to say before getting into anything else, I got to commend the development team, WayForward. They've brought us the Shantae series, Mighty Switch Force, and Nintendo's actually gotten them to work on the series. This is kind of rare. They did this, before with that Cadence of Hyrule game a few years back. But, seeing them license out some of their lesser known franchises to smaller indie and third-party teams, that's really cool. Because there's always a ton of Nintendo franchises everybody complains about. Oh, why don't they make a new F-Zero? Why don't they make a new Star Tropics? I don't know. But, it's cool seeing that, maybe they're willing to do more of this. I'd love to see more lesser known franchises get tossed off to other outsiders like this. Honestly, I got to applaud them for this one. So without further ado, let's begin where the game does, the campaign mode. It's where you're guided to go as you start. There's a bunch of modes that are locked unless you go into it. The plot of the game, it's relatively simple. You're controlling an army from this nation called Orange Star, and at the time of the story they're being invaded by another nation known as Blue Moon. It leads them to having a bunch of other conflicts with other nations and armies and a colorful cast of CEOs, commanding officers who command militaries. This is the way the gameplay works, right? You're having a war against another military on this sort of chess-like board, and you have a set of units that you're able to push and make fight each other. It's hard to really explain a strategy. I mean, it's chess, right? You ever play chess? That's how most strategy RPGs operate. That's how this game operates. There's different types of units on the board that all behave differently. There's stuff like infantry. Infantry, they're very weak. It's just some dudes with guns, but you can use them to capture areas. You can capture cities, which will allow you to heal. Maybe there will be an alternate objective where the game is hey, capture a certain amount of cities to win the match, or maybe you can capture a factory, which factories are another thing where you can each turn, if there's a factory on the map, you can spawn units on that factory space. So, it kind of adds to this it adds to the complexity. There's even more types, there's a bunch of other types of units as well. There's tanks that, they're tanks. There's maybe anti-tanks that are more suitable for anti-air. So they don't really do too well against then tanks, but they do pretty good against units in the air. There's these cars that move really far, but they don't do too much damage. And then they go crazy. They introduce boats and planes, and then there's carrier units like APCs that can move and supply, and then maybe there's landers and the helicopter shuttles or whatever that'll carry units across the sky and through the water. And stuff like that's really cool. There's a lot of that in the game, honestly. I gotta say, the complexity, it seemed a bit daunting. I started the game and I was like, okay, there's all these things going on. There were one or two missions where I straight up failed the mission because I wasn't paying attention to the tutorial. I didn't realize that, oh, this is how this unit works. This is how they want you to play the game. But once you figure it out, it feels pretty good. And honestly, it feels really good. Once it's okay, this is how you use once you're able to outsmart them. There were some missions where it's I know what I'm doing. Let me just completely outsmart the enemy. I'm going to make a big-ass blockade, and I'm just going to sneak one guy all the way to base, and he captured the base, and it's what? That's it? Because that's another thing. The way the game works is that to win a match, you either have to defeat all of your opponent's units, or you have to capture their home base, which is a big tower that they have, usually on their corner of the map. Maybe units are placed close to it. Doesn't really matter, honestly. Units can be placed wherever at the start of a match. That's how the game works, right? Now, this is where my problems start to come in with the game. I kind of realized it's a lot of me problems, because, like I said, I'm not the biggest strategy RPG guy. I'm not the king of strategy, right? So there are some maps where they kind of, like, I get thrown in, and it's like, okay, go, have fun, figure out how to win the game. And it feels kind of rather obtuse, and I feel like I'm really overpowered by the enemy. There were 1 or 2 maps that gave me a lot of trouble in the campaign where I am right now, because I will admit, I've not done the campaign. I know, why am I reviewing the game if I haven't beaten it? But the game's pretty long, and honestly, I don't see my opinion changing like that drastically when I've done it. Once I've done it, I probably either will like it more or will like it less. You know, maybe like maybe if there's like some crazy thing that happens later on. I doubt it. I really do, because here's the thing: the real kicker that provoked me to honestly even want to talk about this game again was the multiplayer. This is what I was interested in trying out the most when I bought the game, and I didn't think I was going to get the chance to, because I didn't know if I'd get enough people who'd be interested to try it. But a while ago, I had 2 of my friends around, and we gave the multiplayer a shot, and oh my goodness, holy shit, this multiplayer is unlike anything else. Like, every strategy RPG needs a versus mode. Like, one of the few I've played, Mario Rabbids, in the first one anyway, it has a versus mode. And, you know, I've played that a bunch with some of my friends over the years, and honestly, we love that mode. But this mode is like, holy hell. Like, you are commanding armies. We played a game that lasted 3 hours. The game lasted 3 hours. It would have lasted longer if we didn't, like, try to end it. And I don't know if that's a testament to, I don't know if that means, like, the game's not good. Like, oh, why the hell? You had to force the game to end for you guys to even end the match. But we were having a blast the whole time. It was incredible. We had so much fun playing it. And genuinely, like, I want to recommend the game off of that alone. If you got friends who want to, like, just have a good time, just strategizing, trying to, like, figure out how to properly eviscerate some of the devious strategies, some of the absolutely devious strategies that my friends were coming up with while we were playing this match. Oh my goodness. Like, so much fun. And I hadn't even introduced them to the air-based travel, and I don't know anything from the second game, right? This is all based on because in the way the game works is that the multiplayer mode will have, you know, there was a bunch of maps I had accessible, but it was all stuff from the first game. They didn't introduce anything from the second game because, you know, it's 1+2 Reboot Camp. I hadn't played the second campaign yet. Apparently there's, like, more stuff. I mean, I remember from the trailers they were mentioning stuff like blockades, where, like, there was, like, a wall you'd have to shoot down or something. I haven't encountered that at all yet, so I'm guessing that's only in the second game. I've heard of these Neo tanks, like another unit type that's not in the first game. So, you know, I'm very interested to see what else there is. But, like, just thinking about it even more, it's like, holy crap, I'm already so, like, obsessed, and we had such a good time. Like, I can't even fathom how much more there possibly could be. And to top it all off, if this wasn't, like, enough content, you know, the 2 campaigns, the multiplayer, challenge stages where you, like, kind of go for your best score. I didn't even mention those. I haven't even touched them yet. There's a freaking map editor in this game. There is a gosh dang map editor. You can create your own stages based on literally any assets from the game. You can make the stage massive and huge, or you can make it, like, super small. You could do literally whatever you want with it, and you can play it in multiplayer. So you can just keep making stages for you and your friends to play for hours and hours a piece, like, until the end of time. This is one of those games where it's like, it's full price, yes, but, you know, it feels like a rather small. You look at Advance Wars remake of 2 GBA games, like, small game, right? But there's just so much content packed into this thing. There's like so much. Genuinely, I am stunned by how much is in this game. And to top it all off, you know, this is the classic, like, you know, I wouldn't expect this. There's online multiplayer, but Nintendo licensed out a remake of two GBA games to a third-party studio, or like indie studio, whatever you want to call WayForward nowadays, and they managed to get an online multiplayer mode. Granted, it's not super robust. It's only friends, only friends, basically. That's it. Like, I'll try and go online, and, like, it'll say, oh, you can't play online because nobody on your friends list has the game. Everybody on your friends list can go buy the game, all right? But yeah, you can even, like, so you can play the custom maps online. This is a perfect Advance Wars game. I'd imagine for fans, like, I don't think there's a single thing fans can complain about. The one thing I have heard already is, you know, the sort of Link's Awakening remake thing where people were like, oh, the opening cutscene is anime, but everything else is, like, this toy, sort of cutesy aesthetic. I'm fine with it. I have no issues whatsoever with it. I think it looks great. I think it fits the game pretty well. It's kind of jarring You know, I don't know if this is me being stupid, but like it's kind of jarring playing a game like this where like literally your life force is number of men alive in your like platoon, in your like set of units, right? But they just die constantly, and the COs or the commanding officers are always so cheery and joyous about it. It's really weird. It's really weird to see how like lightly death is taken in this series. But you know, whatever. They had to give them the toy aesthetic. Watch them go like fucking ragdoll across the screen when they get hit. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I think the aesthetics are fine. I guess like the frame rate isn't the best. The game's, I think from what I could tell, like in the map stuff, the game's at 30. It's at 30, but when it switches over to those cutscenes where like you're attacking another unit, it goes to 60, but then immediately starts dipping like crazy. There's like slowdown or something. I don't know. I don't know if it's a Switch issue. I've been hearing stuff about like Unity or something. The game was on Unity and Switch doesn't do Unity too well or whatever. I'm not sure. Looks fine to me. I noticed the slowdown, but honestly, I would just hold the fast forward button down during enemy turns anyway, so I didn't really, or even mind own attacks. Like the attack animations, I was like, there's so many. You see so many of them. Be like, fast forward is practically a necessity for me at least. I'm not sure about everybody else. But yeah, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp is great. I'm very much, I was surprised. I remember back in E3 2021 when they announced this, I was like, huh. I mean, that's cool. It's not like the most, you know, probably not my most excited thing here, but that's cool. Then it got delayed 4 months. Okay, understandable. Then it got delayed a year also, unfortunately. Very understandable. But now, you know, it's finally out. And gotta say, great job, Way Forward. I really hope Nintendo gives you the reins for another series. I really hope Nintendo gives any of their obscure, lesser-known series to, like, some other up-and-coming third-party devs. I'd love to see F-Zero from Shithead. That's all I'm saying. I think Shithead can do it pretty good. I like Fast RMX, but that's besides the point. Would I recommend Advance Wars 1+2 Camp? You know what? Yeah. If you don't hate strategy RPGs, if you like strategy RPGs like at all, a little bit, highly recommend it. You're gonna have a great time, especially if you got friends to enjoy it with. It's gonna give you hours and hours of fun. But yeah, keep watching the corner for more coverage. You know, more reviews, more whatever. I don't know what we're gonna do up here, but you know what, we're gonna do stuff. Keep it locked. All right.